Greetings, fellow captains, and welcome back to another episode of World of Warships with the Hivehound. And we're doing a bit of a live reaction to the September update. I have briefly browsed over the patches, patch notes, but I haven't really looked at them in any massive detail at the moment. And to be honest, I've just been really busy, so this video is a little bit late, and I apologise for that. But anyway, let's dive into it. Let's try not to make this another 35-40 minute patch notes video. So there's a 2.5 GB update coming for every single console and version. So Order and Discipline campaign. So there's a new campaign. It's going to be a standard campaign, 100 milestones spread over 5 weeks, with the Piotr Bagraton as the final reward for the 2,500 doubloon Admiralty back-in. Obviously we don't have the Piotr Bagraton. I'm just going to call it the Bagrat from now on. Hope everyone's cool with that. So it's a heavy cruiser that has good. It has enhanced AP and HE pen on the PC, I believe, whereas it should be like 12 millimeters of armor penetration overmatching on the PC. The Bagraton actually has 21 millimeters penetration, and they're also short fused, quite like the British cruisers. So you tend to get less over penetrations with them. It also has a higher lower auto bounce angle. It won't auto bounce armor unless it's angled at 65 degrees, which is so basically the guns are fantastic. They're very long range. I believe their base range is 18.4 on PC. I don't think we're going to see it with 18.4 because obviously all of our ranges are reduced. But flat ballistics as well, so it makes it very easy to aim. Decent concealment, has about 11 kilometers when spec'd for concealment. Has the repair party and decent AA. Cons of the ship: mediocre HE performance. And if you're using the IFHE skill, she's not very good at starting fires. It does have a big citadel that's above the water, and it has bad gun angles towards the rear of the ship. So although it's got great guns, you're going to be playing it a bit risky if you're actually going to try and use those guns in game. I'm not going to read through all the rewards. It's typical Admiralty back-in. Absolutely shed loads of boosters and camos and Commander XP. How much global XP? Because 22,250 global XP if you buy out the campaign. Whole bunch of promotion orders, insignias, so on and so forth. You're going to get 750 doubloons back. Let me just check that there's none there. No, so you're going to get 750 doubloons back. You're going to get 15 Soviet destroyer crates. 16. So hang on. No, what? So 14 Soviet destroyer crates and 5 big Soviet destroyer crates if you take the Admiralty back in. And like I said, obviously the ultimate rewards is the Bagrat. I have noticed actually that seems a bit low, isn't it? Normally like 90,000 doubloons worth of stuff from the patch notes. I don't know. Someone needs to go back through the patch notes and let me know. But the total value does seem to have dropped. But it's 2,500 doubloons and a bunch of grinding. I'm completely happy with that. So Transformers are coming back with 4 new commanders for the Autobots, both Autobots and Decepticons, and corresponding skins for their ship. Grimlock The King of the Primitives is going to be coming back for the French battleship Richelieu, and it's going to improve battleship secondary guns and eating enemies, of course. If anyone doesn't get that eating enemies, of course, reference, Grimlock is not actually an Autobot. He's a Dinobot. So yeah, Wargaming, sort it out. But yeah, so Grimlock is one of the Dinobots. He's actually the leader of the Dinobots. I'm a bit of a Transformers geek, and he's quite famous for basically getting angry and eating Decepticons. But you got to be careful, because he'll also quite happily attack Autobots as well. It seems to be his bit of a character is he's big and badass, and he knows it, and not even Optimus Prime would dare answer him back. Quite happy about this one. We have Hot Rod with a Hot Racer skin for the Edinburgh. Edinburgh's obviously one of my favourite ships. So you're going to get better radar and better concealment from planes. So hunt aircraft easy. So it's going to turn the Edinburgh into a anti-AA ship, which could be interesting. Here's me holding out hope that maybe in the future we will get Rodimus Prime as maybe the commander with a skin for the Minotaur, if they ever give it to us. Again, it's a bit of a Transformers geek thing. Hot Rod actually takes over from Optimus Prime and becomes Rodimus Prime, who is an absolute beast. Soundwave with the superior skin for the... See, I thought this was a bad choice. I thought Soundwave would have been better on a Russian cruiser rather than Italian, because Soundwave, radar, sonar, you know. Come on, Wargaming. Consult me next time you do something Transformers-like, please. But yeah, so Soundwave is going to give the superior skin for the Amalfi. Going to be better manoeuvrability and better smoke screen. A great choice for the Italians. In all fairness, having better, they're pretty manoeuvrable, but improving that and improving their smoke screen might actually entice me to play the Italian cruisers a little bit more. And the guy everyone hates to love and loves to hate, and I'm probably going to get more hate in the game, in all fairness. Starscream is coming with a skin for the August von Parseval. Faster aircraft with bigger hit pools. What more can a carrier commander want? Starscream's obviously number 2 to Megatron in the Decepticons, and he's a pretty loved character all around. So any of the previous content you'll also be able to pick up as well if it's your bag. So Megatron, Optimus Prime, Bumblebee and Rumble will be available in the first week of the update, and Hot Rod, Grimlock, Soundwave and Starscream will arrive on week 2, so from the 6th of December. So we're not going to get those straight away. We're going to have to wait a week. God damn it. Right, okay, so alternative Soviet destroyers are coming into early access with the yeah, I'm not even going to try and pronounce that. The Pugnacious, the Kiev, and the Sharp. Sorry, the Sharp, the Pugnacious, and the Kiev. The Sober, we're going to call it the Bivoy, and the Kiev. I can actually say Kiev, and I'm assuming does it state here the tier 7? Yes, so that you'll get the Udaloid will be available next month. Right, okay, so Soviet destroyers, personal opinion, I think the current ones suck. I tend not to play them very much, apart from the Tashkent and the Kaba. So interesting for us, the Sobratskinev and the Biovoy, however the hell you pronounce them. As far as I'm aware, they're not on PC, right? These are actually ships that we're specifically getting that the PC don't have. So, haha, have that, PC Master Race. We have ships you don't have. What are you going to do about it? I think there's enough issues for them to worry about, despite us having ships they don't have. What do we... So the only ones I can really find any information of or know of from the PC version is the Kiev and the Udaloy. So the Kiev has quite long range guns for a destroyer, 130mm with two front mounted turrets, which have super positioning, so you can shoot them both forward at the same time. Not very common on a destroyer, quite common on cruisers and battleships, obviously. It's fast, has a 10 torpedo salvo, and classic sort of Russian gun handling, where they've got relatively flat arcs, and they're accurate as well over range. So definitely going to give the American gunboats even more stuff to worry about. The Kiev is also pretty handy with its armor piercing salvos against battleship superstructures, but the 130mm you're going to bounce off the belt armor, but you will have pretty good fun times Citadel in broadside cruisers at sort of 5 to 7 kilometers, quite easy. Very small potential to fire stealth torpedoes. The torpedo range, I believe the stock range on the Kiev is on PC obviously is about 4 kilometers. So these ain't going to be torpedo boats. These are 100% not going to be torpedo boats. They are going to be another set of gunboats, right up until the point we get the Udaloy. The Udaloy is a little bit different. It kind of reminds me of the Ognavoy, whereas it has the 3 triple torpedo launchers available and an 8-kilometer torpedo range. So same, good HE and AP shell. The advantage is it has very fast turret traverse speed on the main batteries, so it'll be faster. So it'll be a better gunboat. So yeah, we're talking like an up-tiered Ognavoy. So for those of you who have the Ognavoy, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Basically, it's a gunboat that can torpedo as well. Torpedoes aren't its main weaponry, but this is the one of the few Russian destroyers that can actually stealth fire torpedoes relatively easily. So yeah, that's that covered. Right, arena battles are coming, so we're going to get seasons 5, 6 and 7. Arena is coming back, 3 short time seasons this time. Arms race mechanic is going to be back in. I perfectly think arena is fine to have arms race. I don't like it being in ranked, in all fairness. And the battles are going to be between so we're going to go tier 5 to tier 6 and tier 7, depending on the rules. No carriers allowed whatsoever, and your rewards come to your overall placement, so the better they do, the more you get. Prizes include steel, commander progression, items, crates and more. That's going to start off on the 9th of September. New big crates, new season, new crates this time. Big one lets you obtain London, West Virginia, Blaskovica and other in-game content. Obviously the drop rates will be available online for anyone who cares. Balance changes, so I did read this briefly, there are a lot of balance changes. Cleveland's getting a bit of a nerf, half a second on its reload. Let's be honest, Cleveland's far too easy to damage farming, so I think it's a welcome change, particularly for battleship players. The maximum dispersion of the main guns on the Alaska are reduced by 10%, as well as having a 5% AP penetration increase, and repair party reload time is reduced, and it's getting a increase in regeneration of its repair party. So the Alaska's getting a bunch of buffs. Now, I thought the Alaska was pretty good in its current state, to be honest with you. I understand it's a difficult ship to play, and it's got a weird play style compared to most cruisers, but yeah, that's quite a welcome buff. I personally agree with that quite a lot. The Nagato is getting a buff, or is it because it was nerfed? So are we sort of switching back and putting it back to how it was? So it's going to be faster at 26 knots. Rudder shift speed is going to be reduced. That's how they nerfed it. They nerfed its rudder shift time, so it looks like they're putting it back, and also improving its shell grouping. So I'm sure a lot of people are going to agree that that is a worthy upgrade. Kagro, reload time of torpedo tubes reduced by 10 seconds. Really? Is that needed? Well, you say that, but I know torpedo boats are extremely annoying, especially the stealthy Japanese ones. But I prefer the Akatsuki over the Kagero. Like, I'd even rather take an Akatsuki into a legendary game than a Kagero, because instead of having the 8 torps, you have the 9 torps, and you can fire 3 sets rather than 2 sets, which makes it much more flexible. So yeah, my initial thought was Kagero does not need a buff, but actually it probably does, because it kind of sucks as a torpedo boat. So Yamato is getting a buff. Shell grouping decreased by 5%, and the rotation of the main guns decreased. Rotation speed of the main guns decreased by half a second, from 4.5 to 4. So the guns are going to rotate slower, but it is going to be more accurate. So does the Yamato really need a buff? I don't know. I mean, it's a buff and a debuff at the same time. Of course, it wouldn't be patch notes without a Vanguard buff. Right, okay, so the most buffed ship in the game. This is like Vanguard. Here we go. We're going to be geeky again, like Super Saiyan level 3. So shell grouping increased by 2.5%. So that means the shell grouping is getting better. Maximum dispersion of the main gun decreased by 10%. So yeah, there's some confusing terms here, but just want to clarify. So the shell grouping increase means the shell grouping is going to be tighter. And dispersion is how far away each of the shells can land from where you aim. So it's that's being decreased by 10%. So that's a secondary. Oh, wait. See, this is what I mean about confusing. Right, okay, so your grouping is going to be slightly worse, but your dispersion is going to be 10% better. So it's a big buff. And rudder shift time decreased on both hulls by, what's that, like 5 seconds? Or almost 5 seconds. So rudder shift is getting a massive buff. On PC, the Vanguard can dance. On Legends, it can't. And it needs that because it doesn't really have the armor. So maybe people will start playing the Vanguard and it'll start doing well. Like, if you know how to use the Vanguard, it's extremely effective. But I'm guessing the people that don't know how to use the Vanguard are currently having a really tough time. So I don't know if I don't think it needed another buff. But hey, if it gets more people playing the Vanguard, it's probably one of the ships you see least in the game. If it gets them out there, then good. Right, okay, so the Tirpitz is getting a shell grouping increase by 6%. So that's going to mean shell grouping increased by 6%. So that's going to mean it's more accurate. Jesus Christ. And torpedo tubes armor against HE is increased, and so Tirpitz and Bismarck are getting an accuracy buff of 5 and 6%. The Champagne maximum range is going to be increased by 300 meters. Shell grouping increased by 5%, so it's going to be slightly more accurate. 2-second buff to its reload, and a 33% buff to its repair party per second. Gascoigne is getting repair party HP increase as well. Gnevny rotation speed of main guns increased from 6 to 7 seconds, so the Gnevny is gonna get, that's a buff. Armor against HE shells for steering gears and engine increased as well, so that's buff. Tashkent repair party added to the slot where the smoke generator is as a consumable of choice. I thought you could choose between smoke or repair party already. Or maybe I'm thinking of the Cabba. I think I'm thinking of the Cabba actually. So yeah, that's it's a buff. Not really a buff, is it? It gives you that. Basically, they're giving you the option for repair party. And the Leon exhaust smoke generator added to the slot where smoke generators are consumable. Exhaust smoke generator increased by 3 seconds for all Italian cruisers equipped with it, along with dispersion time being increased from 30 to 35. At the same time, secondary guns aiming priorities would change. Now enemy destroyers are more likely to be chosen as a target in the case where 2 or more options of attack are available. Right, okay, so skill changes. So it says buffs. Oh, right, it is buffs. Before slate, bonus to torpedo detectability increased. So an extra 5% there. Flank speed penalty to rudder shift time changed to +3 instead of +5. So flank speed isn't gonna kill your rudder as much as it is. Marksmanship rudder shift time is also being reduced. The penalty is being reduced, so that's a buff. Penalty destroys visibility is now on the same level, same as entry level at 4% instead of 5 to 10% range. Velocity bonus to ship speed increase will buff ranging from 2 to 5% instead of 1 to 4, so that's basically a 1% buff. On velocity, Evil Sparks, legendary skill, penalty to destroys HE damage decreases over every level from 30 to 20 instead of 50 to 40. So the Evil Sparks is the IFHE for destroyers, and so it's not nuking your ability to cause damage whilst trying to cause fires. It's reducing that, which is good. Running with scissors, penalty dispersion of main battery on level 3 changed from +7 to +10. Changed from +7 to +10 to +5 and +6. So that's a nice buff. So nerfs. Fragile threat is being reduced by 2% overall. I'm just going to look at the maximums. Ingenious gun rotation speed reduced by 0.2 degrees per second on every level, so that's a destroyer nerf. Hide and seek, Swirsky's base trait, a bonus to concealment is decreased on every level, so maximum bonus is now -4 instead of -5, and exactly the same thing has happened to Eric Bay's base trait. So for the full concealment build destroyers out there, you are looking at a 4% increase to your detectability, which is big. In all fairness, I think this is completely the correct thing to do currently, and you can disagree with me if you want, but destroyers have by far the biggest impact on the game. Winning or losing can purely depend on your destroyer player. So you'll find I know quite a few really good DD players have really good win rates purely because they're good in their DD. It doesn't matter how good you are in a cruiser. Doesn't really matter how good you are on a battleship. You do have an impact on the game, but less of an impact in comparison to a destroyer. And the Oklahoma project is ending after the September update, so you need to at least research it, even if it's for a second, to keep it if you haven't already started it yet. So if you haven't started it and you want the Oklahoma, which I suggest you would, it's a great tier 4 premium ship, just click on it, activate it, even if it's for 10 seconds, and then put your Worcester back on, or whatever else you're doing. So keep it so you can finish it later. Bug fixes. No more incorrect ship icons in the select menu. Unintended spotlights on water surface whenever a pelagor of blue steel ships were destroyed do not appear anymore. Paid and free campaign rewards are now correctly shown in the port widget screen. Vertical movement of camera on Wick's destroyer has now been correctly limited. Premium ships. So a bunch of premium ships coming. We're going to have our first premium aircraft destroyer with the Zao? No? Zio? I don't know. I'm not Japanese. But it's going to be a tier 5 Japanese aircraft carrier with excellent concealment for the aircraft. So the aircraft are getting a concealment buff. We're going to get the tier 6 American destroyer, Charles F. Hughes, available for doubloons. Further extends the range of red, white and blue destroyers, providing a lot of torpedoes to launch at your foes. So will we get an American torpedo boat? And the big one, the legendary tier Soviet cruiser Stalingrad for 2 million global XP. So we're going to listen to Wargaming's response on this. So we realised this is a very unusual way of delivering a legendary tier ship, but we also felt it was time to try something new. While only a handful of players will get her right away, we know a lot among you have multiple global XP ships. So while this is certainly a long-term goal, it is not beyond the horizon. Also, considering Stalingrad as our first non-bureau legendary ships, we're making it available with a permanent camo from the get-go, which comes so when it comes to what the ship is, think of it as a huge cruiser with 12-inch guns, same as the Alaska, offering excellent performance with AP and a serious hit point pool and quite a bit of speed. Also has the choice between radar or defensive AA. Please note Stalingrad is not a premium ship, but simply a ship of legendary tier. So changes to her performance are very much possible and even likely, and please consider this before making your purchase. Right, okay, so because the other legendary ships are premium, classed as premium ships are sort of basically a way of donating something that is paid for content. And paid for content you can't adjust. So that is something to take into account. So whereas all the other ships can change, premium ships very rarely can get changed. There's a whole laws, and you can basically request a refund, even if, so they could buff a ship, and even though that buff might be quite welcome for the overall player base, like technically you could get a refund because it's not what you paid for. Right, okay, so Stalingrad, what do we know about the Stalingrad? Right, so again, I can only refer to what I know from the PC. So she's fast, she does about 35 knots, and she has a huge hit point pool, higher than any other cruiser. The guns are the most accurate in the game, I believe, with a 2.65 Sigma rating. I'm not going to get into Sigma ratings on this. There's an aiming video where I discuss this actually. The AP shells have improved auto bounce angle and reduced shell arming time, so less over penetrations, and it'll probably be the same 65 degrees of the Bagrat for the improved auto bounce angles. So if you can't overmatch them, they have to be at an angle of at least 65 degrees to deflect your shots. has defensive AA fire, and or surveillance radar. There are some cons to it though. It does have a high citadel, making brawling a challenge, and showing broadside is not good. Don't sail this thing broadside. Relatively ineffective if forced to use HE, so AP is definitely its weapon of choice. HE isn't. It has worse concealment than most of the tier 7 battleships. So basically what we're talking here is it's not really a cruiser, it's a battleship with small guns that moves fast, and some of the worst handling of all the tier 10 ships. So this is definitely something you want to take into account. Lacks hydroacoustic search, which, when you consider that, alright, she's fast, but her turn-in is absolutely rubbish, it does make this thing a prime target for DDs, and a slow reload, which means she loses a lot of opportunities to take that other cruisers would get. And on PC, it suffers from battleship fires, which last twice as long as everything else. So yeah, that's me done. Thank you very much for stopping by, and until next time, take care.